What if I told you that when you think you're being vulnerable by telling your wife how scared you are to lose her, how much you love her, and how much you want to fix things in your marriage, you are actually pushing her further away? You're not alone. In fact, this is one of the most common patterns I see in marriages on the brink of total collapse. So in this video, I'm going to break down the real reason your wife pulls further away when you open up and be that version of vulnerable, and what healthy masculine vulnerability actually looks like. Because when you get this right, it can change the entire trajectory of your relationship and send you down a path to a flourishing marriage instead of going through the motions in a dark cloud or making appointments at the divorce lawyer. Before we dive in, if you are a man in marriage crisis and you want the fastest path to saving it, after this video, I invite you to go watch my free masterclass. The link for that masterclass is in the description below, and it dives into what actually works to rebuild connection and save your marriage in the fastest way. Also, if you appreciate making me content like this, go ahead and tap that like button so YouTube can find other men who need this help as well. All right, let's get into it. Most men have never actually been taught what real vulnerability is, or at least what we have been shown in movies and TV shows that we consume is conditioning us to act in the wrong way when it actually matters most. So when their marriage or long-term relationship starts falling apart, most men's version of vulnerability becomes confessing fears or guilt and insecurity. And part of this becomes dumping their emotional pain onto her and professing how much they need her and how much they love her. So what happens is they give off the vibe of please don't leave me vulnerability instead of the appropriate leadership vulnerability. In hearing this, don't think that women pull away from your vulnerability. They're actually pulling away from your emotional instability. There is a distinct difference. True vulnerability says to her, I feel this, I'm grounded, I'm not collapsing, and I'm going to share this with absolute clarity. While instability says to her, I feel this and I need you to fix it for me. I need reassurance, and the less I get of it, the more I'm going to totally collapse on you emotionally. When you lay it out in those words, you can see how one makes her feel closer and the other one makes her feel responsible for you. And if you go long enough where she feels responsible for your emotional state, then she can't relax or trust you, and the attraction starts to dwindle very, very fast. It is during this phase, and no matter how long that is, it can be months or even years, during this phase, she moves more into a survival mode, and survival mode shuts down that overall connection. As much as we believe that women love to talk, and it is true, there's a variety of different studies that generally show that women speak anywhere from 3,000 to 12,000 more words per day than men do. That part is misunderstood because women don't actually respond to words first, they respond to states. So when you open up and speak a bunch of words that are coming from a state of fear, a state of panic, or a state of anxiety, your wife doesn't hear any of those words. She is just feeling that emotional state. She feels that you need something from her that she can't give to you, and that you want reassurance from her that she doesn't feel like giving during this time. When that happens, she starts to feel trapped and pressured with a touch of guilt piling on because now she can't meet your emotional needs that you are constantly piling onto her shoulders. This guilt is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction, and is why so many men, when they're not getting the response they think they should be getting from their wife, they stay to them. They say, but I'm just being honest with you. I'm opening up and I'm communicating just like you wanted me to, and I'm telling you how I feel. Yeah, they are doing all of those things, but they're communicating it through a collapse energy, not an energy of clarity. And clarity is what starts to create emotional safety. This brings us to the next piece. In healthy marriages, the emotional polarity looks like this. There's you, and you are grounded, steady, and emotionally clear. And then there is her, and she is expressive, emotional, supported, and understood. When a marriage is in crisis, that polarity starts to shift and is essentially reversed to a certain degree. So now, suddenly you are the anxious, emotional, and fearful one, and she becomes numb, overwhelmed, and ultimately shut down when this goes on and on for extended periods of time. This reversal makes her brain go into that survival mode. And when a woman is in survival mode, she loses access to warmth, empathy, desire, compassion, emotional closeness, and basically all of attraction. And when a man is in this phase of collapse, in the emotional reversal, as I like to call it, he starts to open up more as he thinks she wants, but it's from the wrong state. And that pushes her deeper into the shutdown, and she's no longer assuming the emotional leadership burden of the relationship anymore. This is why even the most kindest, most loving men, and even incredibly successful career men. I mean, look at what happened to Tom Brady and Giselle. These men also get pulled away from by their women because they are not being grounded and they're not being the leaders in the relationship that is required of them to have a thriving one. So when we are talking about true masculine vulnerability, we're not talking about unhealthy vulnerability. Unhealthy vulnerability is when you start dumping your pain on her and begging for those reassurances, which tells her that you need the emotional rescue from her, and you just start sharing unfiltered emotion based on that need. Actual healthy masculine vulnerability, which is just simply not taught to us, it contains pretty much the following 5 components. Number 1 is being self-led. That means you process your emotions first. You're not just handing them over to her to fix. Number 2 is being grounded. Everything about your presence feeds into the safety that she needs to feel the energy of your nervous system, not the specific words that you say to her. Number 3 is being clear and contained. I don't want you to conflate me saying that you don't dump your emotional pain on her or share emotions as saying you keep everything inside and not open up to her. That's not what I'm saying. But what you need to share is real, and you do it in a way that doesn't collapse into her. That is the way of being masculine and being vulnerable in a masculine way. Number 4 is being responsibility-based. This relates to sharing your emotions and feelings in the masculine way. You don't place all of your emotional state onto her shoulders, and there is a way to communicate those emotions that actually raises her attraction, even if you are dealing with your own very vulnerable human emotions. And number 5 is be directional. To expand on number 4, you have to be directional in what you share. The key is to show her your emotions and where you're going related to those emotions. This kind of vulnerability attracts her because it restores polarity and emotional safety. It restores her ability to feel close again. So when you truly integrate those 5 components into your skill set, this is what sets you apart from most men in terms of being able to successfully be vulnerable in a masculine way that leads the relationship in a strong way and raises her attraction for you. This skill set allows you to acknowledge your reality with clarity in such a way that you can communicate to her while taking full ownership for yourself. When you are able to really master this and know the difference between sharing your direction and sharing your desperation with her, this is the type of energy that allows her to breathe and not feel manipulated, or that your entire world hinges on her validation of you. This is the way to get her to open back up and begin that reconciliation process on the right path. If this video hit home for you and gave you a realization that you've been trying to open up from a place of fear, I don't want you to beat yourself up about it because you weren't taught this. Basically, none of us men were. But if you want the step-by-step structure for how to rebuild emotional safety and show up as a grounded leader where you can rebuild your relationship with your wife and save your relationship, watch the free masterclass I built for men exactly in your situation. Click the link in the description below for that free masterclass that will show you the exact path that truly works to rebuilding connection. Also, please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.